Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Gotham Sports Machine. I'm Mark Healey. He's Jack Healey. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, nothing much. Good sports day for sure. We got a
Yeah,
lot of good stuff coming up.
we're gonna do a little bit of everything today on the Gotham Sports Machine. Obviously, to start things off, St. John's getting to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1999. Huge news, right, Jack?
Yep, yep. It's great for New York basketball. It's great for the tournament. The Johnnies are back and they're looking good.
It's funny because I remember, obviously that 1999 team. And I misremembered something, and I was sending to Jack some questions, and he was like, "Yeah, no, that was it was not the Felipe Lopez team. It was you know, the crew with Bootsy Thornton and that crew." So, but the coach was the same coach. It was Mike Jarvis, who I could not stand. Did not enjoy him. He was a little too much for me. But I'll tell you a funny story, Jack. I don't know if you know this story. So your mom and I, Kaylin, we were in the city, and I want to say it was like 2001. So mom met me in the city. I was at AP, and I met mom over by Fifth Avenue, and we were getting out of the train. And Mike Jarvis and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, was walking towards us. And we saw each other. And he was like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Hey." And as we walk away, your mom says to me, "Don't you hate that guy?" It was hilarious. But he certainly did a good job with the team he inherited from Frank Fraschilla, getting to the Elite Eight that year, but before losing I believe what they lose to Maryland in
Ohio
the Elite
State by
Eight, Ohio
3.
State. That's right, Ohio
Yeah.
State. So obviously this team. Let's put it this way. I think everybody expected Rick Pitino to overachieve with this team. Do you think this team is overachieved, or you think that that's where they're supposed to be?
I mean, yes and no. I don't think too many people expected them to beat Kansas, but everybody saw the team they had last year and they brought guys back and they saw what Coach Pitino was. So it wasn't like out of the realm of possibility that they'd make a run this year, and they looked really good throughout the season and beating UConn in the Big East tournament. Definitely it had everybody going and everybody excited for the tournament. And the way they play basketball, the gritty defensive mindset that Patino's instilled in his team. I mean, you see it every single time they play, no matter who they play. They play a top team like Kansas. They're even suffocating them and forcing 16 turnovers against a team like that with one of the best coaches of all time in Bill Self.
Well, look, I've been a Pitino guy forever, ever since he. Now I was aware of him, but I really wasn't a Pitino guy until I believe '86, when my old high school classmate Carlton Screen, we called him Paco, played for Rick Pitino as a freshman that year, and he was the backup to Billy Donovan at the point for Providence. And then, of course, Pitino comes to the Knicks, and really, I mean, the Knicks, the Rick Pitino Knicks, were really exciting and really fun. Probably should have that marriage should have probably lasted a longer time, but he couldn't get along with Al Bianchi. Al Bianchi wanted the Knicks to play half court game. Rick Pitino wanted to push it, shoot threes. Was way ahead of his time when he was the Knicks coach. And because he couldn't get along with Bianchi, then he goes to Kentucky, and then the legend of Rick Pitino as a college guru came to pass. And look, it's been a long time for St. John's, but I think Pitino. Look, it would be great. It would be great if they beat Duke, and it sets up an Elite Eight matchup between St. John's and UConn. But
Potentially.
do you think this team has any shot at beating Duke?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's March Madness, first off. Anyone could beat anyone. And just matchup wise, like the way Duke plays and the way St. John's plays is very different. Duke doesn't really have like they have a big man, but they don't really play him as much as St. John's plays Zuby Ejiofor, and Zuby's the cornerstone. He's the guy for St. John's. They play through him offensively and defensively, while Duke plays through Cam Boozer, who's more of a forward, and he wouldn't really be able to guard Zuby. Zuby's way too big for him, so it's really not going to be a one-on-one between the two of them. It's more like Boozer's the forward guard that the Johns guards and forwards are going to worry about. And then Duke's going to have to figure out a way to stop Zuby Ejiofor because they play their big man like 15 to 18 minutes a game. Zuby plays 30 minutes a game. Where are they going to find other guys to stop him for the other half of the game he's in? Is Duke somehow going to expect this guy who's coming off a foot injury, who's 6'11", to just come out here and play 30 minutes when he hasn't in over a month? I don't think he's played 30 minutes all year. Like this guy is not built the way Zuby is athletically, and like his stamina is not where it is to where he's going to be on the floor with Zuby all game. If St. John's can exploit that mismatch down low with Zuby, they can force turnovers the way they did against Kansas, and they can knock down jump shots, which is always the key for St. John's. If they're hitting their shots, I mean, good luck.
Well, yeah, well, that's that's the that's certainly the you know it's like every team we root for. Yeah, if they do this, they should do this, but sometimes they don't do it. So, but like you said, a Patino, a Patino coach team. This is the kind of stage that Rick Pitino teams thrive in. So let's see. I mean, look, it's certainly not like it is certainly not a game where St. John's has no shot. They certainly have a shot, and I agree with you that perhaps physicality will win the day. But the whole tournament is always fun. It's always a big party. All the college basketball fans, and I used to think that with the with all of the names changing and NIL and all that stuff, look, it's not the same as it used to be, where guys would play 3 or 4 years in college and then go to the pros, or guys would play 3 or 4 years with the same team. Guys are one and done, two and done, sometimes, two and done with two different teams. It is a little bit difficult to build, those kinds of school traditions, but I think the fans, and you can speak for yourself, being the younger generation. Has it really changed? Has it changed for you? Do you still enjoy it? Does it lose any kind of enthusiasm for you, the tournament?
Well, not the tournament. Like it is annoying to like see like some of these guys like they'll just get a better opportunity. Like they're a lesser known guy and then they have a great year and then another big school wants to go and get them and offer them a bunch of money and like that sucks, but it's also created for more competition. Like some of these lesser known schools have become great and you see these Cinderella runs. Like we haven't seen as many this year, but it's just cool to see some of these like rando schools you never even think of winning a big game and because they can go out and get a guy for 1 or 2 million now. Like, because as an athlete, would you rather be the third string at a great school making nothing, or go to one of these lesser schools making $2, $3 million and be the star player?
Right.
Like, that sounds a no-brainer to me.
Exactly. And most players are going to take advantage of that. But here's the thing, it changes the narrative, because then, schools that are traditionally great in the tournament, 5, 10, 15 years ago, it doesn't look like, oh, Duke is not the same. It's not the same, like these schools, UConn, all these different schools, it's not quite the same as it once was. But that's fine. It doesn't always have to be, and Jack is always busting my chops. Oh, you don't love things now. You're a grumpy old man. You're right, but in this instance, it's better for the players, and fans like me who grew up watching a completely different game just have to get over ourselves,
And
right?
some of those, I mean, some of those great schools have still had a lot of success. UConn just won back-to-back national titles.
Right.
I Duke, they haven't won in a while, but they've still had great teams and the best recruiting classes every year, so they're still gonna be in that competition. But then you've also seen teams like Kansas and UNC almost completely fall off the map.
Right,
Like Kansas hasn't gotten to the Sweet 16 in God knows how long. UNC hasn't won a big game in God knows how long. And those two programs that were perennial
right.
Final Four, Elite Eight kind of teams.
Yeah, no question. All right, so hopefully, St. John's gets past Duke, and we've got a St. John's Elite Eight game to look forward to. And hopefully it's against UConn, and that'll really kind of like raise the roof for St. John's as baseball season is just getting started. And we've got opening days to look forward to with the Mets on Thursday and the Yankees tomorrow.
Yep. Yankees got a good game tomorrow playing the Giants. They got Max Fried on the mound and Logan Webb for the Giants. It's gonna be a good game. But the thing about the Yankees, I mean, looking at it right now, like they already have two or three major starters that aren't gonna be back until May.
Right.
At the or like you don't know when you're gonna see Garrett Cole. You don't know when you're gonna see Carlos Rodon. You don't know when you're gonna see Volpe. These are three major pieces to this team with like yeah, you have guys you can fill in. Like Ahmed Rosario should be able to do the job for a month, but like it's no one you're going to be excited about. No one like I've in the beginning of the spring you saw George Lombard and you're like, oh, maybe he can make the team, make a little spark, and then he didn't really do anything. Jason Dominguez, you were like, oh, hoping he could finally crack that AAA MLB little line he hasn't crossed, and he just hasn't. He hasn't made that step. He hasn't taken that step. And that's got to be one of the most frustrating things for Yankee fans, seeing another top prospect just go up and down and not really have a place on the team. When you look at a guy like Spencer Jones, is he going to be the same thing? He's looked ridiculous every spring. And it's like, when are we really going to give this guy the shot that he deserves?
Well, they're going to play Trent Grisham. They're going to pay him 22 million dollars a year.
Yeah, it's just like, it seems like after a whole year, it's like not much has changed for this Yankee team. They're still beat up and they still are putting guys
Right.
in spots that it just doesn't like, yeah, they could do a good job, but like, it's just like not exciting at all, especially
Well,
as a Yankee fan. Like, this is supposed to be like a Met problem to me.
right. Well, here's the thing. I think the Yankees, once Garrett Cole joins the rotation, which I think will be sooner rather than later. Carlos Rodon. I mean, he's not automatic that he's going to be great. He's good. And look, I love Max Fried, and he was fantastic for the Yankees last year. The opening day starter tomorrow. But again, as I wrote last year, when they signed Max Fried to that deal, it's the biggest deal for a left-hander in history. And the last guy that got that kind of a deal was David Price, and he too was great in his first year with Boston. Second year he was okay, maybe a little bit better than okay, but he certainly wasn't, he wasn't fantastic. And then after that, he was pretty much done. He got hurt, and didn't even finish out year three of that contract at a high level. So do I think Max Fried is a guy that's had some injuries, and I'm certainly not rooting for that. Certainly, I'd love to see Max Fried be successful for the entire length of that deal, but it gives me pause, right? If they're healthy and they're together by the All-Star break, like the Yankees should be in the thick of it. But a lot of people are picking them to win the AL East. I don't get it because I think Toronto's going to be great. I think Boston's going to be better. I don't think Baltimore is really going to do much, but they could. Is it possible that Pete Alonso goes nuts and gets them, off to a really good start, and the Yankees have to really claw back to get back into wild card contention? Could those things happen? Sure, but I think the Mets, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I think the Mets have a better chance to win their division than the Yankees do theirs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's just not only the injuries for the Yankees, but it's the team surrounding them. Like Toronto, it should be one of the better teams in the MLB. Boston is definitely going to be better. They looked like a completely different team the second half last year, and they added Orioles. They added to the lineup. Alonso's going to be good, but same problem they've had the past 5 years, zero pitching, and they didn't really do anything to address that again. Which is another thing. The Yankees didn't really like do anything this offseason. They didn't really address any of these like major, and they don't really have major needs. But the one thing they failed to do, and they keep failing to do, and the only time they ever successfully did it was with Soto, is get another actual superstar next to Judge. You are the Yankees. This guy's in his prime. He's one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, in his prime. You're the New York Yankees. And then outside of Bellinger, you really got, well, you got 95-year-old Giancarlo Stanton. Maybe he shows up in October, but you need a guy who can protect him in that lineup for 150 games plus.
Right.
And they just don't have that.
And Stanton's not capable of that anymore. I mean, he's great. When he's healthy, he's great. He's still a really good power hitter. And like you said, he shows up in the playoffs, but he just can't stay healthy, and look, Volpe, you mentioned Volpe before. I mean, really enough already. I mean, if he was a Met, I'd want him traded yesterday. And that's how I look at it. It's like I just look at these guys. I don't hate the Yankees. When the Yankees are good, it's better for baseball. But, Trent Grisham, I mean, I know he hit a bunch of home runs last year. He had a career year. He's never doing that again. And, the Yankees were like, well, 50-50. We thought he would take it. We thought he wouldn't take it. Now, it didn't stop them from re-signing Bellinger. But I mean, he had a terrible spring. I always say you can't look at spring. Spring is like, nonsense. Guys use it to get in shape. Sometimes the stats, translate into the season. Sometimes they don't. But this is a guy that, is supposed to be a big part of their lineup. Do you have any confidence that he's going to have? I mean, forget about hitting 30. What did he hit last year? 38 home runs, some ridiculous number. He's never doing that again. Maybe he hits 25, maybe. But this is not a guy who's a high contact hitter. I mean, he's a good center fielder. He's not a great center fielder. And they really, as you said, they really didn't do anything to address, they're running it back, quote unquote. So, to me, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not overly excited about the Yankees. I think they'll be in the playoffs, yes. But a lot of things have to go right for the Yankees to win the AL East, and I don't see that happen.
I've never been a fan of Trent Grisham ever since he randomly became the best hitter of all time against the Mets in the playoffs
Oh,
in that Padres series.
oh,
Guy was hitting 100 all year, and then he becomes Babe Ruth.
yeah. Well,
And, and then he basically did the same thing, but opposite for the Yankees. He had the great regular season, and it looked like, oh, resurgence. Trent Grisham's a center fielder, like he's an all-star center fielder now. And then he gets to the playoffs, and he's like 1 for 30. He was terrible.
right. No, you're right. You're right.
And then
But
they give him $20 million for that. Like, why would you offer somebody a contract that you don't really want them to accept? It's
I,
not like
I, I, I still don't get it. I'm
it
sorry.
makes
I don't.
zero
I
sense.
don't. I don't. People will be like, well,
Yeah, like
whatever.
maybe
Yeah.
someone else could have gave him money. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
No smart team
And
is
you
going to
get your
give
pick. You
him.
get whatever. It's just, I look, you can't argue with some people. I'm sure that there are people who, think that was a great move and, Cashman masterclass. I think it was terrible. Um, I still don't get it. Maybe, and look, if we're wrong, I'll admit it. I know you'll admit it. If we're wrong, then when we do the show at the end of the year, we'll be like, look, we were wrong. He was great. I don't see that happening. I don't. And as for the Mets, when I look at the Mets, 2 months ago, I wasn't happy. I know you weren't happy with everything that was changing and everything that was being done, and we didn't really understand. And we were being told one thing, and other things were happening. I'm excited about the 2026 season for the New York Mets. And, what do you think? If you had to rate the moves, one, two, three, what are the three best moves the Mets have made this offseason, in your opinion?
And they haven't even played a game yet. I can't even like, I could get all excited about all these guys, and then in a weekend, Bichette's 0 for 30, Polanco's making errors.
You sound like me.
Like, I can't like, I, I am the same, I am the same that I was after all the moves were made. A little less upset, but I'm really not changed. Like, I haven't seen
Right,
this team even play a single meaningful game.
right,
So like, and even then, even if they're after the first week of baseball, if they could look great, they could be undefeated, 8-0,
right.
and I'll still be skeptical and I'll still wait. I like
Sure.
un- until the whole season plays out, I'm still like even after 1 year, this isn't a 1 year team.
Right,
Like they gutted a forever team. Not a forever team, but like the basically the team of the 2020s. And this
right,
is a whole new team now. So
right.
until you see this team for 2, 3 years, we're not gonna know what the hell these moves are really like, how they impact your future. Because I mean it's a completely different sport, but when the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, it looked like everything was changing. Everything was gonna be great. Everything was gonna fall into place. They were a quarterback away. 2 years later, same boat.
Yep,
So they
yep.
made all these moves and it could bring them into contention and it
Right.
could bring a whole new culture to this team and they could all be this defensive monster and defensive run save team and play like the Brewers where they're all fundamentals and it all works out and everybody's happy and they beat the Dodgers. I would love that. It would be great. But they could also in a year or two have to completely retool this team again and Bichette somewhere else on a big deal, Polanco
Right.
somewhere else, and Peralta doesn't even sign this extension. And then we're sitting here watching Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo finish their careers on other teams.
Look,
And
you're not
then
wrong. You're
that
not
would be
wrong.
like the most heartbreaking scenario. And it could go completely one way or the other. There's no like,
Well,
there's really no in between.
I thought you were going to be more upbeat, Jackie.
I'm not like, I'm very excited to watch baseball
Me too.
at the end of the day.
I'm
I'm
excited.
happy for the baseball season,
Yep.
but it's just to a T. I can't be too excited because
No,
I
look, you're
know
right.
what could happen.
You're right. And we have seen we've been excited about teams and we've seen them, whether it was 2024 where like they came out of nowhere and made that run, which was awesome. But then, there was 2022, and that whole, debacle and, 2023. And it's very difficult. It's a long season. It's 162 games. People take victory laps after a good April. People were taking victory laps last year after June when they had the best team in baseball. And we've seen more than our share of Met teams fall by the wayside. So I'm cautiously optimistic that they're going to win the division. I don't think that the Braves. A lot of people are picking the Braves, to be a real contender. I don't know how you can do that when they have so many injuries to their starting rotation. They lost Profar again now for another full season. Obviously Acuna is going to help them. He's going to be fantastic. But, and they have a good team, but I mean, and look, they're going to be better than they were last year. But I don't see them, being a contender for the division. I think the Mets' only contender for that division is going to be the Phillies. But again, the Phillies offseason was a lot like the Yankees. They kind of ran it back, and then they lost a couple of guys that have been good for them. So for me, all right, let's put it this way: which player are you most excited to see play this season for the Mets?
Hmm.
If you had to pick,
Oh,
if
that's
you had
not
to pick
even,
two or three.
especially if he does, but I don't think they've announced it yet. But I want Carson Bench to wear number
No, no, no,
9.
they did. He's gonna, yeah, no, they did announce that he's gonna be on the team.
No, no, his number. I
Oh,
want
I
him
think
to wear,
isn't he wearing oh, they haven't announced that his number yet?
I don't know, but I
I
want
know
him
they
to wear.
announced just a little while ago that they're gonna wear a Davy Johnson patch. They're gonna wear a Davy patch, which is awesome because he deserves it.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, I didn't see that they didn't announce his number. What if he gets number 9? Are we going to be happy
That's
about
what I was trying to say. I want Benj to wear number 9, and he would be my player to watch.
it? All right. Let's hope he gets number 9, the best number on the planet.
And if not, my guy will. Oh, the reason I will never be too high or low is because we still like at the end of the day we still have my guy Soto. We still have,
Of course.
or arguably the one of the best players, hitters that we've ever seen, anybody's ever seen. So I'll always be excited to go watch him play. And I
Yep.
think this could be the year where he finally gets the Mets an MVP.
Look, I'm so on Robert, and not because he doesn't have ability, but because he's never really done it other than one season, and he needs to stay healthy. And their backup, who I was not excited, but I was pretty happy that they had signed Mike Tauchman, but now he's hurt, so don't know when he's coming back from that knee injury. Tyrone Taylor we love, but he's not really a hitter. And then you have Benj. And if I guess if Robert gets hurt, Benj will move over to center field, and maybe they put Beatty every day in right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I happen to think I have 3 predictions. Okay, number 1, I think that Brett Beatty is going to be the regular first baseman. He's probably going to play more first base than he does anywhere else, and will be a revelation over there. That's my one prediction for the Mets. My second prediction for the Mets is that Nolan McLean wins Rookie of the Year and he wins 15 games. My third prediction is that Kodai Senga is the comeback player of the year. Those are my 3 predictions for the Mets.
All right.
What about you? You got any predictions?
Predictions. Well, I already said Soto MVP. Um, I think everybody's overblowing Manea, and he turns out to be a very solid piece in the bullpen
Oh God, I hope so.
if he stays healthy. If he gets hurt, obviously, that's just um and I think Devin Williams bounces back
Oh,
and has
yeah,
30
we
save
talk about
season.
him. Okay, good. That's a good prediction. Let's hope so. I don't have any confidence that happens. I think Luke Weaver's going to be closing games for us.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
And
I
Weaver
don't know. That
was
guy makes me nervous. I do like him. Having watched him now in the spring, I do like him better than I did when we look when they signed him. I thought he was going to be the setup guy for Diaz.
mhm.
I never really thought Diaz would leave. You know, so when they signed him, I was like, all right, I mean, maybe he figures it out here.
Mhm.
Um, but now that he's the closer, yikes! I'm a little concerned about that.
I just saw a video of the Dodgers doing Diaz's the trumpets. Yeah, I'm over it. See
Disgusting.
you later. See you later,
It's
guy.
disgusting. It's
I hope
disgusting.
Soto takes him deep the first time he sees him. And he starts doing the trumpets while he's
Uh,
blowing it first.
and I'm the kind of guy that a lot of times when a guy leaves the Mets, even if he gets traded or if he leaves and signs somewhere else, if I like the guy, I usually root for him. Now, even like when Darryl left the Mets to go to the Dodgers, whatever that I don't want to go into all that, but I kind of rooted for him. I mean, the Dodgers weren't the Dodgers then; they weren't like the team that like we hated. They were a rival, but I wanted Darryl to do well, even though I was mad that he left. I hope Edwin Diaz is terrible. I hope he's terrible.
Yep.
I don't root. I mean, I hope Nimmo does well. I hope Pete does well. I hope McNeil does well. But oh my God, I hope Edwin Diaz is terrible. I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever. But no, you're out. Can't stand him. I'm out.
Yep.
The trumpets. Ugh. Ugh. So, anything else, pal?
I think we're good.
All right.
Um,
All right. I'm excited about opening day. I'm going to make some hot dogs. Maybe we'll get some of those pretzels.
we actually got a Falcons signing.
Oh, really?
Falcons just signed Brian Robinson Jr., the running back.
Oh, nice.
They got
Nice.
Bijan and Brian Robinson.
Oh, I like that. Everybody's like, why are they talking about the Falcons? Jack and I are Falcons fans. Look, Jack became a Falcons fan all on his own. I can't blame me.
Tragically.
Well, look, did I make you become a Falcons fan? The answer is no. Did I make you become a Met fan? No,
Probably.
no, 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 no. I did not. All right, buddy. I love you.
Yeah.
All right. That's the show next week. We'll have plenty of baseball to talk about. I'm sure we'll have some from some Knicks to talk about. Hopefully, some St. John's to talk about. Maybe some. We didn't get to the Jets, and
Yeah.
their Geno Smith and that whole thing, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a lot of football going forward. This is the Gotham Sports Machine. I'm Mark Healey. He's Jack Healey. We'll see you next week. Later, Jack.
See ya.